All right, and we are following breaking news at Ashford Dunwoody Road. This is an aerial shot of Perimeter Mall where you can see a heavy police presence around the mall. Getting you the latest details for this, we learned from Chatcom Dispatch that they are working a shooting at Perimeter Mall. There has been a reported shooting at the mall. We are looking out for updates right now. We have an Atlanta News First crew headed to this scene, and we're going to follow with the latest developments. But as you can see, an ambulance making its way in a rather speedy fashion. So we will be following any and all updates headed your way. But for those that are just joining us now, this is a reported shooting at Perimeter Mall on Ashford Dunwoody Road. Heavy police presence. You can see fire trucks on scene surrounding really most of the mall in this area that you're looking at. This is a live visual from our Atlanta News First chopper bringing you this active investigation. And again, you are looking at our live picture from our Atlanta News First chopper. There's heavy police activity at Perimeter Mall. This is right along Ashford Dunwoody Road, where there has been a reported shooting at the mall. We are working on getting the latest details. Our Atlanta News First crew just arrived on scene. We're working on touching base with them and getting you on the ground perspective and following the latest updates, talking with officials, talking with the responding investigators who are at this location. But you can see a heavy police presence, cars just surrounding this mall area that you're looking at. We saw an ambulance earlier just a few minutes ago, as well as several fire trucks. So we are continuing to monitor this situation. There you go, those fire trucks still visible. I believe the ambulance has since left, and several police vehicles still on scene. All right, and I was able to get a video of the on the ground, a video from this active scene here, showing you this footage that we actually got from one of our Atlanta News First members. Here, take a listen. those videos that you saw from the ground received into our newsroom from our Atlanta News First team. But taking you back to this Atlanta News First chopper shot that we're bringing you, this is live footage, and you can see someone being carried out on a stretcher right at this moment, surrounded by several law enforcement members. You can see almost a yellow neon covering of some sort, possibly a jacket. I can't tell you much about the identity of this individual, but from what it looks like, a victim being carried out on a stretcher by several members of law enforcement. And you can see them almost surrounding this stretcher, just bringing it to what I believe will be an ambulance for transportation. We saw another ambulance earlier make its way away from Perimeter Mall in almost a speedy fashion. Several of those, there you go, there's the ambulance. Several firefighters, several police vehicles remain on scene, really surrounding the mall, a heavy presence there. We are getting the latest details on what exactly took place, confirmed for you at this time, but that is quite the sight to see. One of the what appears to be victims being carried out on a stretcher to that ambulance. I believe it will be departing very shortly, surrounded by members of law enforcement, a couple, really all of them armed, but a couple of them being vigilant still as that person was carried to the ambulance. From appearance-wise, just describing this scene to you, and you can see the amount of law enforcement presence, firefighters that remain on scene, ambulance vehicles, at least two from what we can see out of this aerial shot that we're bringing you. And then earlier we did see one drive away, so at least 3 ambulances. We are working on confirming what exactly took place here, and we will continue to monitor this. Again, for those that are just joining us, there is a heavy police presence around Perimeter Mall. We did see someone just moments ago, if you missed it, carried out on a stretcher to that ambulance that you're looking at right now. This is a live shot from our Atlanta News First chopper. Now, according to witnesses, they did see that large police presence earlier, police dispatch, police officers responding to this mall right here on Ashford Dunwoody Road. At least one store has confirmed to us that they are currently on lockdown in response to this reported shooting. We are working to get you confirmed details of what exactly took place here, but what I can tell you is there was a reported shooting that took place at Perimeter Mall. Our Atlanta News First crews just touched down here on the ground. They are working to talk to these officials and get the latest details on what exactly happened here and where this investigation is. Right now, no details on who the shooter was or what started all of this, but we are working to get those details to you. We will be talking to our reporter as soon as we are able to about what they're seeing from the ground here. But this is probably the best way to show you from the air just the amount of law enforcement response that is surrounding Perimeter Mall right now. You can see fire trucks, several law enforcement vehicles, several members of law enforcement standing vigilant. And earlier, just moments ago, we saw someone carried out on a stretcher to an ambulance by a group of law enforcement of individuals, some even holding firearms and looking around vigilantly. So we are working to piece together the details. What I can tell you right now, if you were passing through this area or planning to go to this mall, I know it is Friday evening. A mall is a popular place to spend some time after work, after the hard week we've all had, to kind of unwind and spend time with friends and loved ones. But right now, you want to avoid this area as best as possible. We have learned that at least one store is currently on lockdown in response to this shooting investigation. We are working to learn more every single minute. Our Atlanta News First crew is on the ground right now, and we are getting the details to this story. All right, and we're following that ambulance right now. You can see it leaving this area. This is Perimeter Mall on Ashford Dunwoody Road, and a private vehicle, it appears, following that ambulance in the direction that it is headed. Earlier we saw another ambulance as we started this stream leaving the area of Perimeter Mall. No details as to whether that ambulance was carrying any passengers. It did seem to drive off in a speedy fashion, but this ambulance, we know for sure, we did see someone being carried out on a stretcher, loaded up into this ambulance, and now that ambulance making its way to what I imagine is the nearest possible hospital. And for those that are just joining us right now, this is a live visual from our Atlanta News First chopper showing you this scene right now, an ambulance driving away from Perimeter Mall where there remains a heavy police presence. Several members of law enforcement, we know Sandy Springs Police is on scene, along with the fire department. We saw at least 3 ambulances, one that left at the very beginning of the stream. It seemed to drive off in a speedy manner. Now this one we know is carrying at least 1 victim. We have received confirmation that there was a reported shooting at Perimeter Mall. At least one store has told us that it is currently on lockdown in response to the shooting, and a heavy police presence remains surrounding Perimeter Mall. Again, if you are trying to pass through this area or were planning to head that way for any reason, it is Friday after all. Make sure you are rethinking that at this time. Avoid the area as much as you can. This is now an active investigation. You do not want to be anywhere near here. Let law enforcement handle this situation. You want to just keep a safe distance at this time. Again, fire department, Sandy Springs Police is on scene. This is along Ashford Dunwoody Road, specifically at Perimeter Mall. We do have confirmation that at least one store has locked down at this time out of precaution, or it has told us that it has chosen to lock down as a response to this reported shooting. We are communicating with our Atlanta News First team on the ground, our reporter Tori Cooper, who is there now, as well as several agencies that are responding to this. Our team hard at work to get you the latest details. All right, and you're looking at Perimeter Mall. This is near Ashford Dunwoody Road, where we are following reports of a shooting, heavy police activity at the mall. I did want to let you know specifically DeKalb County Fire Department, Sandy Springs Police, Dunwoody Police Department are all on scene investigating and responding to this. If you were with us earlier during our stream, we did see somebody being rolled out on a stretcher from what appeared to be inside the building, inside Perimeter Mall. We saw them coming out with several members of law enforcement surrounding the stretcher to an ambulance that has since left the area, likely headed to a nearby hospital. We did also see at the start of this stream another ambulance leave the scene. Now, I don't know if that ambulance was carrying any victims, so at this time we can say, based on what we saw, there was at least 1 victim, 1 person that was taken to the hospital that we saw during the duration of this live stream. We are following reports of a shooting investigation at Perimeter Mall. Again, it is Friday. I understand a lot of people are out and about, especially at this time. A lot of us has since gotten off of work. This is an area you do not want to be around at this time. Avoid it as best as you can. Now, I think it goes without saying where Perimeter Mall is, but I do want to show you this map here. This is the area of Perimeter Mall where this took place. I'm actually going to adjust my search here. It's a simple Google map, but it kind of puts into perspective the surrounding businesses as well as just how busy the surrounding roads are. Now, I haven't had any confirmed road closures at this time. I do believe that majority of this police presence is centered to Perimeter Mall, the parking lot area specifically. This is right outside, if you can follow my cursor here. In this area specifically, this is where the heaviest police presence is being seen. You know, members of Dunwoody Police, Sandy Springs Police, as well as DeKalb Fire Department, and I'm sure other members of law enforcement that are coming to assist. But this is what we're looking at right now. There is an active shooting investigation underway. We saw one person being carried out on a stretcher. I am working with our Atlanta News First crew here at this station, our team working to get the latest details, talking to these different officials from police to fire department, trying to get the latest information for you. And we also have an Atlanta News First team on the ground. Our anchor and reporter Tori Cooper touched down not too long ago, working to get the latest details, specifically who the shooter was, what exactly took place, how and when this all started, as well as the amount of people involved. I think it's safe to say at least one person was carried out on a stretcher. We saw that. Now, it remains to be known if that was connected to the shooting. We will have that confirmation to you. But for the time being, this is a live picture. You're looking at Perimeter Mall near Ashford Dunwoody Road, where a heavy police presence remains. You can see crime scene tape already surrounding the area. Several members of law enforcement huddling up, having what I imagine are discussions and really proceeding with this investigation in the fashion that they normally do, but also staying vigilant. We kind of got some close-up shots from our Atlanta News First chopper of some of these officers, and they did appear to be cautious. I imagine that's just the nature of the job, but it remains to be said that you want to avoid this area as best as you can. This is not an area that you want to be near right now, as there is an active shooting investigation. And for those of you that are just joining us, just to recap, bring you up to date on the latest information that we have, a heavy police presence remains around Perimeter Mall. We have since learned that there was a reported shooting. Now, if you were with us earlier, we saw one person being carried out outside of the mall onto a stretcher through the parking lot, surrounded by members of law enforcement, and into an ambulance, which has since left this scene. And we are going to continue to monitor this situation and keep you up to date. The best way to stay up to date on this developing story is to download our Atlanta News First app. We will send any major breaking notifications, updates regarding this story to you directly on the app. Also, AtlantaNewsFirst.com, get the latest details on this story, as well as our team coverage. Our reports from Tori Cooper are going to be right there for you. Stick around. We are going to follow this until the very end.